What's up, muscle car people? This is Bringing Muscle Cars and I'm Matt. Today we're going to bring you a little install on some new rear shocks. Now these are some bad mofo shocks. These are made by Menser Motorsports, and what they are reworked AFCO shocks, and they're supposed to be the best of the best. So I have Vikings on now. I'm going to take them off and then I'll show you the size of those compared to these and just the quality of them, and then you'll see why we did this. Right now I'm getting 60 foots. The last time out off the foot brake was 1.9. It should be 1.2 to 1.3, like very low 1.3s. And I don't know if it's just the shocks. Some of it's probably the tires, some of it's other suspension setups, but I'm definitely not confident in the Viking shocks right now. Not saying anything bad about them, just not confident in them because they were locked up at one point. So I'm going to go with something I know is going to work and I know kicks butt. So let's get this install started. It should only take a couple hours, hopefully, but it's going to be hot in here. It's about 90 degrees outside and very humid, so hopefully I lose like 5 pounds. Look good for the ladies. Let's get to it. The first step in changing your shocks is jacking the car up. As you can see here, I'm using my Harbor Freight 3-ton long reach jack and my favorite modification to the car, the Steeda jacking rails. They work great on the Shelby, but they also work on any S197. I use these all the time. It makes it so you can jack the whole side of the car up all at one time. It was easier with the stock suspension. Now there's so much travel in the suspension that it makes it a little bit harder. And anytime you jack the car up and you're working underneath it, make sure you use jack stands just so everybody's safe. There's no reason not to. Now we're going to the passenger or driver's side and we're going to jack it up, do the same thing, and get this ball rolling. You know, it's a pretty straightforward install. It's really only 2 bolts, the top and the bottom, and it's quick and easy, painless install. So again, you can see we're using the jack stands on the other side. Better be safe. Alright, so this video took 2 weeks to film because when I first started, when I started looking everything over, I wasn't paying attention when I got the Mensers in that they had an eye loop up top, not a nut and bolt. So unlike the Vikings that just went in the stock location and everything went right up, no problem, you couldn't do that with the Mensers. They're more of a universal shock and a much higher grade, obviously. So what I had to do was get this Ford Performance rear shock mount kit. This was actually on their road racing car. The picture I think was always an orange car or something like that, but the part number is M18197-A. So if you want to take my little advice, if you think you might need this, I would order it now because I ordered it 2 weeks ago and it was manufactured 8/31/16. So I think when they're gone, they're going to be gone. Let's take a closer look at this part. Alright, basically you are getting 2 of these. Of course it's from Ford, so you know it's going to work, and it's a very nice piece overall. What we have to do is take the old shock out, put this one up there, and then go from there. Tighten this down. What I'm going to actually do is put these on before we put them in the car because we need to put spacers in between here. I'll show you on the other one. So we need to put spacers on here so it doesn't have any play in it. We need to put spacers in there so there's no play in it. and I think it's just gonna overall be easier to do knocking the car. So we can use the impact and get it tight. All right, and my bottom bolt is a 1/2 inch compared to 3/8, I think. So what I'm gonna have to do is, unlike a regular shock install, I'm gonna have to take the rear tires off. So I'll take the rear tires off, and then we can drill out the holes to make a bigger hole. So we'll go from there. Let's get this thing going.
To install the shocks, we have to remove the old ones. It's a fairly straightforward install. You have to remove the top bolt, which is a 15mm. It's in the trunk, so if you have a trunk liner, I don't have a trunk liner, you're gonna have to remove the trunk liner to get to it. Then you just loosen that bolt up and take it out. So we work on taking this out, and then we move to the bottom, and it's one bolt down there, and that is also a 15mm. So camera doesn't get it in this picture. I'm using the GoPro on top of my head, and unfortunately it's just not angled perfectly, but it's one bolt, and there you go, you can see it pretty good right there. It's one bolt, 15mm again, and that one uses a locking collar with the factory bolt. So if you're using the Vikings, replacing your stock shocks, you're just going to reuse that bolt. I, however, cannot do that, so we have to remove that and then change the process a little bit installing the new shocks. So stay tuned to see that.
All right, guys, let's take a look at the Menser and the Viking shock. There's nothing really wrong with these Viking shocks besides they just didn't work for me. They got locked and they wouldn't compress at one point. It's working now. It's not great though. So one thing I can definitely tell you is these Mensers, top notch. All the fast guys, the fastest guys in the country are all using Mensers. So guess what we're gonna use? Mensers. That's our goal, is to be fast, really fast. So that's what we're gonna do. And I mean, cylinder is much bigger. It's, again, the Mensers are using the AFCO shock, and then they're actually just making it better. They're putting the secret sauce on it, as people like to say. Walk in front of the camera, man. Come on, man. So let's get the passenger side done, or yeah, passenger side done, and we'll go from there. Let's get this thing done. I don't want to go home.
So to install the new shocks, I had to take my rear wheels off because I had to use a larger bolt on the bottom. So I had to put a locking nut on it instead of just using the locking collar which it came with. And then after we got the wheel off, we slide the bolt with the spacers in there so it's tight, and we install the new shock. And that's really all it is to it. It's two bolts, one on the top, one on the bottom, and then we're basically done. That's all it is. So don't be afraid to try this at home.
All right, let's take a look and see what the new shocks look like. They look like shocks, but we're gonna find out on Friday how much of a difference they make. Justin Starkey from VMP is gonna get me some starting specs to set them at, and we'll see how it goes. Alright guys, thanks for watching this quick video. The shocks are a very important part of the suspension. We will find out real quick whether the Viking shocks were messed up and how well they were working once we go to the track and we test these out again. If we're getting better 60 foots right off the bat, we know it was the shocks. If it wasn't the 60, if we're not getting a better 60 foot, then we know that it's something else in the chassis that's causing us to have a bad 60 foot. Hopefully we can get the 60 foot way down, kick some butt, take some names, and run an 8 right off the bat with these new Mensers. So thanks for watching. Remember, if you got a fast car, you better bring it. Thanks for watching.